How's it going, everybody? Flash Jordan here. We are back for week 4 of the college football season, not presented by Vivid Seats. You definitely cannot get number 8 Notre Dame Fighting Irish tickets on that site. And let's get into our biggest surprises from last week as associated with the AP poll. As you see down there at number 25, BYU has entered the top 25 with their win over Wisconsin. And that game was basically, the staple for how bad this weekend was for the Big Ten. That's my biggest surprise. The Big Ten had an absolutely atrocious week of football. I think going 6-7 in a non-conference week,
Mm.
just absolutely, again, disgusting from the Big Ten. And out of everybody except for really Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan, all the other, games that they were supposed to win. But Maryland lost to Temple. Nebraska lost to Troy. South Florida beat Illinois. Purdue lost to Missouri. Akron beat Northwestern.
Yeah.
Rutgers lost to Kansas.
Yes.
And of course, BYU beat Wisconsin. So a
Yep.
horrible
Yep.
week for the Big Ten. That was my biggest takeaway. I know we're both, big supporters of the Big Ten, but
Yeah.
my good, this was a horrible week. And they paid for it in the polls. Wisconsin moving down 12. Um, Michigan State somehow came back into it. I have no idea how, even though they didn't play. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it was a bad week for the Big Ten for everyone not named Ohio State.
Yeah. I just have to echo what you said. I mean, Michigan State. Actually, we have. The Big Ten's got almost half their teams in the top 25. So I mean, it's not bad for a conference as far as rankings, but everybody said that's not in the top 25 is horrible. Just horrible so far.
Yeah, and to completely recap, top 25. I normally don't have too many problems with it. You see Boston College and Texas A&M, they both stepped in. I think Texas A&M, despite the loss, is really good. I don't know if I would put BYU in there, even though they did win at Wisconsin. Because I don't know if Wisconsin's that good. And I'll amplify that later in our picks. But I don't have too many problems with it. LSU beating Auburn, that was pretty huge.
Well, who
Auburn
else? Who else are they going to throw in there? Boston College is in the ACC at 3-0. I mean, Oklahoma State's 3-0 too. They're up there too. So yeah, in the LSU Auburn game, it was exactly what I thought it would be. Except I think Auburn has the better talent than LSU,
I agree.
and LSU didn't cream them. If they had way better talent, they would have creamed them. They didn't. It was a 2 point game.
It was a 1 point game, actually. But anyway, let's move on to the meat and potatoes of this segment, the picks for week 4 of the college football season. Let's get into it. The first game we have here, the number 8 Notre Dame Fighting Irish at the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Now, this is going to be a very interesting game. The last 2 weeks, Notre Dame has struggled with Ball State and Vanderbilt. They only beat Vanderbilt by 5, and they only beat Ball State by 8.
Mm.
I really, really, really want to pick Wake Forest in this game. I don't know if I'm going to do it, though. I'm going to go Notre Dame to win this game, but it'll be another nail biter. Notre Dame barely escapes, and I feel like the next good team they play is going to destroy them.
I don't.
But if,
I don't know. Notre
I
Dame's
think they
always
survive.
got. The,
I think they survive another week, though.
well, this is my 10 game actually because I think Notre Dame is underrated this year. And of course, when you're in the top 10, you're going to struggle with pressure from the media and pressure from the outside. I got Wake Forest getting slaughtered. They're 2-1, but it's Notre Dame, and they're good this year, so they
Hmm.
win.
We feel very differently about Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Next game we have here, the South Carolina Gamecocks at the Vanderbilt Commodores. Now, we had pretty high expectations for this year for South Carolina heading into that Georgia game. I know, it was week 2, but they got slaughtered by Georgia, and Vanderbilt barely losing to Notre Dame. And I think Vanderbilt gets the win here at home. I do believe, um, Vanderbilt could possibly make a bowl game this year. They might be the best team in the state of Tennessee, but uh,
they could be. Yeah,
let's just think about that for a minute. Vanderbilt's the best. Yeah, you know what I'm about to say. Yeah, but Vanderbilt's going to get the win in week 2 over South Carolina.
I have that as well. It's in Nashville, so it's South Carolina coming into Nashville. Vandy's going to win. I agree.
Next game we have here, the number 17 TCU Horned Frogs at the Texas Longhorns. Now, both of these teams they both had big games in week two. TCU losing 40 to 28 to my Ohio State Buckeyes. That was a fantastic game, though. And the reason I'm taking TCU to beat Texas, who had a fantastic game against USC, is the fact that I don't think USC is good at all. So I don't think that's as good a win for Texas as you would probably think. And TCU played great against probably one of the top four teams in the country right now. So I'm going to take TCU to win this one.
Well, I hate Texas as much as anybody else in the Big Ten or SEC. You really have to be a sole Big 12 fan, and most people in the Big 12 don't like Texas either. With that said, I'd rather see TCU win. I think they should. I think the win over USC, whatever. My opinion doesn't matter. I think USC is actually decent. I don't think they're crap. People are only saying that because Texas beat them. But, they got a new coach, and it is what it is. I'm picking TCU to win this game at Texas.
Next game we have here, the Florida Gators and the Tennessee Volunteers, two teams that historically are pretty good, but lately, last few years have just sucked. That's the only word I can think of right now.
Hold on. Can I say that I'm surprised that they're both 2-1 at this point? I'm surprised they're both there. I'm more surprised that Tennessee played two crap teams last 2 weeks, but
Well,
anyway.
personally, I'm more surprised that Florida is 2-1 because I did not think they would lose to Kentucky. But now that I think about it, I think they Florida was overrated from the beginning, and I should have easily seen that coming. And I think that will continue this week, the overration of Florida. And I am picking Tennessee.
Ooh, no.
Tennessee is going to win this game. They're finally going to get an SEC win, the
No.
first one in a long time. Go Vols.
Yeah, no. Let's not give BVD a reference here. I'm going Florida all the way because, not because of Tebow, but I'm going all the way because Florida's the better team. They're clearly the better team. Tennessee is not that good. Tennessee's only 2-1 because they played East Tennessee State University and they played the UTEP Miners. Did you know who Tennessee got beat by in their first week? West Virginia.
West
So
Virginia's really
they
good.
are they are really good, but
Florida lost to Kentucky at home, a
Kentucky.
team we had beaten 31 times in a row after that, or before that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I know this is probably going to be a better game than I want it to be, but I'm still picking Florida.
No, go Vols. Next game we have here, the number 14 Mississippi State Bulldogs and the aforementioned Kentucky Wildcats. I think this will be a fantastic game, but I do think Nick Fitzgerald will come up clutch late in the ball game, and Mississippi State gets a very, very close win against the Kentucky
Ooh.
Wildcats.
Yeah, I hope Mississippi State's actually ranked where they are because that means as the season goes on, it's going to make good for really good hype football in the SEC. I have Mississippi State winning the game too. It's a 5 game for me. I'm kind of confident, but with Kentucky being who they are, maybe they'll be the SEC favorite. I don't know.
Maybe a sleeper to maybe take
Yeah,
down Georgia.
could be.
If they do beat Mississippi State here, I would think them and Missouri are probably the two most likely to take down Georgia in the SEC East.
Yeah, yeah.
But moving on, next we have the Troy Trojans and the UL Monroe Warhawks. Now Troy beat Nebraska the next week. I can't talk last week, and for that simple reason, because I don't really know anything about these two teams, and the fact that Troy's been pretty good the past couple years, I'm going to pick Troy to beat ULM this week.
I just think it's great that a team can call themselves the Warhawks when Auburn calls themselves the War Eagles unofficially because of the veteran story in the Eagle. Um, I have this is my one game, so I have Louisiana Monroe winning this game. I hope Louisiana Monroe beats Troy because that would just mean Nebraska is so much worse.
No kidding. Next game we have here, the number 24 Michigan State Spartans at the Indiana Hoosiers. Personally, I think that game against Arizona State a couple weeks ago was a big fluke, and I think Michigan State. Well, I say that, but Indiana at night is really hard to play in. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I do think the Spartans are going to come out on top.
The pollsters are giving Michigan State some love here by
Yes.
keeping them at 24 because they can't really knock them out. Um, But of course, I don't have Indiana picked. I've got Michigan State picked. This is my sixth game. This Michigan State had better win. That's all I have to say. I don't want to see Indiana 4-0 because that's just gonna mean the whole persona of the Big Ten this year is backwards, and I can't have that.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that happens at some point. Obviously not with my team, but yeah, Indiana winning and being ranked, seeing Indiana ranked would be insanely crazy.
Yeah.
The next game we have, we're going to skip that game and head to this game here, which is I can't really talk today.
Hey, it's one of those days.
It's one of them days. Number 18 Wisconsin Badgers at the Iowa Hawkeyes. Wisconsin obviously coming off a bad loss to BYU in which Rafael Gaglianone, their kicker of 4 years in a row, missed
Man,
game tire that would have probably sent it to overtime had BYU not pulled off some more Hail Mary magic like they did.
halfback toss magic, you name it. Yeah.
That being said, Iowa is 3-0 and they're at home and it's a night game. That means it is guaranteed to be a close game and it almost guarantees an Iowa win. And I'm picking the Hawkeyes to win this game over the Badgers. They shut Jonathan Taylor down. Low scoring game. Iowa wins it. Last second field goal.
Wow. I'm gonna have to clip that. Super bold pick because the most inconsistent division in all of football is the Big Ten West. And somehow other teams have a one up on Wisconsin, but they blow it eventually. So they're 3-0 right now. Iowa is. Wisconsin's going to come in and you can clip me here. They're going to get destroyed by Wisconsin. That Wisconsin football team does not take losses well. They're going to destroy Iowa, expose Iowa for all they are.
Okay, interesting. The next game
On
we have
national TV, by the way.
Okay. The next game we have here, this is my 10 game. The Arizona State Sun Devils at the number 10 Washington Huskies. Again, I do believe that Michigan State win is a little bit of a fluke.
But if it wasn't,
It was maybe it wasn't, but I do think it was. And I think Washington's going to destroy Arizona State here. I think Washington will probably run the table in the Pac-12. But Oregon and Stanford, they're both there, the Pac-12 North. So I don't know. But I am going to take Washington to win this one over Arizona State, and it might be a big win too.
I tend to completely agree. I got Washington. It's my number 9 game. Yeah, for sure.
And the game of the week. College game day will be there on Saturday morning, live from outside Autzen Stadium. The number 7 Stanford Cardinal and the number 20 Oregon Ducks. Stanford's ranked number 7. They got a win over USC, and they got close win against San Diego State too. And I don't remember who they played last week, but I am picking Oregon to win this game at home Saturday night. I just haven't seen enough from Stanford that would make me want to pick them. They had a really close game against USC. I don't think people realize how many chances USC had in that game, and they just blew it. Stanford's offense is not, really clicking right now. Bryce Love's not really clicking.
They're 3-0. How can you say they're not clicking? Seriously.
I'm going to take Oregon in this game. They're just not dominating like I think a number 7 team should be. So I'm picking Oregon to win this game.
My goodness. No bias whatsoever.
What bias would I have here? We're Big Ten fans, Dad.
Well, Stanford's really good. They're generally better than Oregon.
I like both of these teams. I just think
I
Oregon's
don't. For some reason, there's just teams I don't like. Oregon's one of them. Maybe it's their uniforms. Maybe it's their lack of show. A couple years ago in the national championship. But I got Stanford winning. Why? Because brains beats brawn every time.
Oh,
Okay, and Stanford's a smarter school. Oregon's what do you need, like a 1.5 to get into that school? Point being, Stanford's going to win, and they're going to win big. I tend to be right on my picks, and I think I'm right on this one.
no, you really don't. And
I do, actually.
Speaking of that, we need to quickly go over our season records so far this year. In week 3, I went 6-3 because the one game between West Virginia.
They only played 9 games. Yeah.
Right, was canceled. So total for the year, I am 20-9. And let's
That's pretty
see.
good.
How did you do last week?
I think I went 5-4.
Let me just check it to make sure. 1, 2, 3. Right, it's 5-4. So you are 19-10. So
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'm up one. So I'm up on 1 game on you right now. Hopefully this trend will continue into this week. It should be another fantastic weekend of football. A lot of teams are on upset alert this weekend. Any last words for the people at home?
I got a question for you. Does Ohio State play this week?
Yeah, we play Tulane.
What do you,
Urban's
what do
coming
you,
back
what are
from
your
the.
thoughts? So Urban comes back. Would it be great if he
I don't,
lost
I don't think
against
it'll be.
Tulane?
I don't think it'll be any different. OSU rolls Tulane. I don't even know why I had to say that.
What do you feel? How do you feel about the Northwestern game?
I don't care because they're irrelevant now.
Oh my goodness! All right. Hey, look. All right. And with that, I say, Daddy-O out.
All right, see you next week.